Welcome back. Let's bring in our guest, Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, former Minister of Youth, as well. He has many caps to his name. I don't want to go through the long list. He's been there, done that. But as the National Publicity Secretary of the ADC, the Coalition of Opposition Political Parties. Let's talk about opposition parties for a moment. Mr. Abdullahi, thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Joe. Good to see you again.
I know we want to talk about opposition politics, but, the whole idea of politicking is to gain power to govern. Now we have a big governance issue on our hands, which we'd like your comment on. We've been designated, I'm sure you've made comments about that, while we're trying to lobby and get all this pushback and manage framing and narrative and argument about who is killed more than the other person. 25 girls have been abducted. While we're trying to get over that, Kwara attack happened around a church and a ruku in that local government in Kwara State. What do you make of all of this, that is playing out recently?
Well, I thank you very much, and I'm glad with the way you've started the conversation, because one of the critical challenges that we are faced with, in addition to the overall security situation in the country, which is becoming almost unbearable, is that this government is focused too much on politics, that it is not helping them in a way that is not helpful, in a way that obstructs their capacity to understand the enormity of the challenge that we are faced with. When the issue of Donald Trump made that statement about Christian genocide going on in Nigeria, all of us dismissed it, that there was no such thing as Christian genocide. We knew that there were genocidal killing going on in Nigeria. What we did not agree with is labeling it as Christian genocide. But what you will expect is that in a serious government, this government that is allowed to its responsibility is to ask a very critical question. What opportunity or what new threat does this present to the security challenges in the country? But instead of asking that question, they've been very defensive, trying to prove that they are doing everything that they can, trying to claim that, claiming that one religious group has actually been killed more than the other political group and all that. Because what we are seeing now is like the Christian genocide narrative is becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like those terrorists, those bandits killing people can actually sense an opportunity, and that they can actually bring about that narrative, actualize that narrative, or give life or credence to that narrative. And that's what you see play out. You can see in the increasing wave of attack that has happened since that incident happened. So it appears that these bandits can sense the vulnerability of the Nigerian state. They appear to have realized today that they can do whatever they like. They can kill whoever they like, and nothing is going to happen to them. And that's why you can see, since that conversation happened, we've seen so many attacks. I mean, the one you referenced, the one in my state, Kwara State, the one in Eruku, one of the most peaceful part of the state, is particularly heart-rending. Who will see a picture of a woman, of an old woman running away without knowing where she was going and being mowed down by bullets, and not realize that this country has got to a stage where we can begin to describe Nigeria as a killing field? So, but what is this government's reaction to all this? I'm sure that we're going to have this conversation, but what is clear is that you don't see this government addressing the situation as it should be addressed. You don't see a sense of commitment, a sense of urgency. They make these dramatic moves. Oh, the president has cancelled his trip because he wants to focus on what is going on in the country. Oh, he has sent the vice president to go and commiserate to the families of the abducted girls. Oh, the president issued a statement 72 hours after the girls were abducted, saying he was depressed. He didn't even mention Kwara, he didn't mention Eruku, he mentioned... So all these shows that this government, to them, everything is about politics. Everything is about optics. And as long as it doesn't disturb their politics, they are not interested. So all these things that you see they are doing is just theater, just political theater. Then you don't see any deliberate intention to deal with this problem. I don't think they have the capacity to deal with it. I think they have given up, and I think the bandits can sense it, that they have a real opportunity to continue to do what they are doing across the country.
Well, isn't it also pointing to the role or responsibility, better put, of the opposition parties to do the needful? Just this, here's what I'm talking about. These issues are not new. They've been with us for a long time. In fact, Jeffrey was reminding me that these issues date back into the first presidency in this Fourth Republic. Excuse me. So we have a responsibility, not just as people in government, but even as people out of government, as opposition parties. What are the alternatives that we should be talking about? Well, if we say the government is not doing what it needs to do, what should the opposition parties be doing to pressure, just a second, to pressure the government to do what is needful? Because it will seem like, just as, you know, the conversation we're having, opposition parties themselves seems to be focused more on politicking than offering alternative views.
No, I mean, you make it sound as if the alternative to alternative view is politicking and vice versa. That's not the case. Opposition political parties in a democracy can only do what we are doing, putting pressure on government, calling government out, and telling government what we think can be done differently. Yes, you said that this problem did not start with the Bolaji administration. I agree with you completely. Everyone knows that. But the difference with this administration is that they don't have the humility to admit that whatever they have tried to do since coming to office regarding to insecurity has not worked, and that the situation is getting worse under their watch. You see, it's that humility to admit and therefore ask for help. And that is why you see we don't support it, but that's what is driving some Nigerians to a desperate situation where they are supporting Donald Trump invasion of Nigeria, because they don't think that this government is capable of doing anything or even have the desire or the will to do anything about the problem. When you find yourself in a situation like this, because we are in a life and death situation, every Nigerian today is imperiled. So what do is, regardless of party affiliation, regardless of any other consideration, you create and you realize that you are in an emergency situation and bring on board. You just spoke with Dr. Adamu now. I mean, there are so many people like him. Yesterday I met a retired general, Lieutenant General, a retired general who was talking about this same situation on our other channel. All these people, they exist in this country, and they have ideas, clear ideas, tested ideas on what can be done. They know what the challenges are. Is the government engaging them? Why is the National Security Advisor still a politician? We are faced with an existential challenge. When you have in this country today, our National Security Advisor is still a politician, whose best security experience was a policeman, with due respect. You have a politician as the defense minister. So this government is about politics more than anything else. So I think it's wrong for you to say, oh, we are also playing politics about this. No, for us, it's life and death. You know, I mean, for us, like I said, I'm from Kwara State. I'm afraid, I'm worried that my state is gradually being taken over. People talk about Eruku as tragic as it is. Only that same yesterday, there are news report that I saw that in the same Kwara State, in the Feludu local government, Okiode precisely, 12 people were murdered by bandits who have now targeted that state and that village and continue to go there to do whatever they like. They killed yesterday 12 people, including the traditional ruler of the village. So it's beyond politics. This is a time, if there is any time that every Nigerian needs to come together, anybody that has anything to contribute, this is the opportunity. We once issued a statement telling the president and the APC government that we as opposition, we are willing to engage. We are willing to be part of finding solution to this. But all they do is they are defensive, their interpretation of the problem is wrong-headed. They've always talked about, excuse me, they are more concerned about convincing Nigerians that they are doing the best, that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. Now we have 25 children in captivity. And up to now, two of them have escaped. Alhamdulillah, but we don't know what is happening to the remaining 20. So this situation, if we are not careful, will become another Chibok girls. God forbid, the Chibok girls situation. God forbid. So it's not about the opposition not wanting to engage or not having alternatives to this. I've just mentioned two things to you now. Why is the president still keeping a politician as the national security advisor at a time of war? Because we're at war. The bandits can sense that they have real opportunity to take over the country. And when we are not, the government is still approaching the situation as business as usual. So when we are saying this, we are not saying it because we are opposition. We are saying it because we are Nigerians and that we are scared. And that all of us are scared. And that the president has a duty to assure us that he can protect us. He has said it before, that a president that cannot protect his citizens should leave the job. He said it to Jonathan. Now we are saying to him, if he cannot protect us, then he should quit, he should leave, he should resign. Because people are dying, women, children, old women. I mean, you saw the video of that. If that video of a church in Eruku does not move anybody to action, then what will move you to action? What will move you to action? So it's not about politics, please. This is not about politics. People are dying every day. As we wake up today, only God knows who will see the end of today. And we are saying that it's politics. It's not politics.
All right, Mr. Abdullahi, it's a very, very, in fact, it's almost borderline insensitive to discuss any other thing apart from saving lives right now. I can agree with you on that. But let's talk about solution for a moment. I know you said you've approached or written saying, look, you're ready to come to the table. So maybe if you have, I know you said now, one of the things you said, if I caught it rightly, is that why is the president keeping Nuhu Ribado? He's a politician. In fact, I remember when he said something and I was literally squirming on my chair, like, no, that shouldn't have come out of your mouth, man. I don't know what conference that was, and I heard the NSA saying, nobody dares Tinubu and win. What does that mean in English? So, besides changing guards, what other proposition do you think that we can aggressively use? When I say you now, I'm talking about your party and all of that, or the other side of the collective in terms of proposal to help us stem the tide of this madness by people that are hell-bent on overrunning us. They are now Kwara, Kogi, and that fringe.
Now, you're asking me what we think we can do. As a layman, I'm not a security expert. But the first thing is you expect government to do is to escalate the level of security alertness in this country. You don't see that. The government, this APC government, declared a state of emergency in Rivers State over politics. There are situations in this country today, in Sokoto State today, farmers are being denied access to their farm by bandits who collect taxes from them before they could harvest their crops. And even after harvesting, even after paying the taxes, they still send cattle to eat up their farms. The same thing in Zamfara State. How many people? So the point we are making is that Nigeria is faced with an existential challenge. But this government is approaching it with a business as usual mindset. So the first thing to do is to escalate the level of security alertness in this country and let every citizen feel that there is a sense of real existential danger that we are all faced with. The government is not doing that. All you see them doing is all this drama and all that. Okay, after the girls were abducted, wasn't the vice president sent to Kogi to go and receive the campaigns into their party, thinking on your mandate we shall stand? You see, we should stop. If the government is really keen to deal with this problem, government has the capacity to deal with it. You are talking about mere changing of guards. No, it's not just changing of guards can make a whole lot of difference. We've seen it in this country. Nigerian military is not useless. Go to Liberia. They are still telling the stories of Nigerian soldiers. Go to Sierra Leone. They are still telling the stories of Nigerian soldiers. So the same Nigerian soldiers, if you don't, I listened to one that, like the general I mentioned earlier, he said some soldiers have been on duty for 5 years. They've not seen their families in 5 years. These are real issues that need to be dealt with. This same president, don't forget, You remember the famous or infamous Agbado theory? Was it not the same president that said if he become president, he was going to he was going to recruit 50,000 youth into the army, and if you wonder what they are going to eat, you give them Agbado in the morning and give them corn in the afternoon. So what happened to that? What happened to the 50,000 that he said he was going to recruit? They said they have recruited some forest security. Yesterday at Transport Building, I saw some of these forest security people standing around, probably guarding some VIPs. Is that why they are recruited? So there is a high level of unseriousness in all this that is almost tragic on its own. You know, so when the recent service chiefs and other people that I don't know their capacity, what they are able to do, but this is probably the first time from what I'm hearing that these people are being appointed on geopolitical basis, on ethnic balancing and geopolitical basis. You know, so how are you faced with this kind of situation? And what you are thinking about is geopolitical balancing in the appointment of people who can protect us. So a whole lot of things are going on. Apart from the fact that the insurgency has become an economy of its own, it has become a lucrative enterprise for some people, and they will not want it to end. So you expect that the president, who understands that his primary responsibility is to protect life, will approach this with a different mindset. No, okay. But everything to them is about politics, is about 2027, and they will do anything to protect that, and that comes first for them. And this is the real tragedy.
Yeah,
Nigeria is becoming a killing field. We can't continue to bury people every day.
My sincere apologies.
We are working towards 2027.
Yeah, that point is made, and there is no one who can argue with that. However, there is also something that we've also spoken about this morning, and it's been a trend. Most times when we talk about insecurity in Nigeria, we're always focusing on the presidency. But then the president is just one person, and as you have said, appointees all over the place. The security agents that spoke with us, the security expert that spoke with us earlier, talked about the fact that there's a DSS official in every local government in Nigeria, and their heads always have one reason or the other to interface with the governors. Now you are also in this country when a serving governor said that I think it was in when the Kankara boys were abducted. A governor said, we know the people behind these things. A governor. And former governors have also said, these people are not ghosts. So is it, how should the political class, I mean, I'm talking about, because there is, just as Jeffrey said earlier, there is always that correlation, there's always that kind of a relationship between politics and all these issues, and security agents, as well as security experts have spoken to that. So at the state's level, particularly in the space of the governors, don't they have a responsibility in all these things? Particularly, I mean, speaking especially from the political angle, if these issues have political connections, how come the governors themselves cannot? Because they are all across party lines. What are your thoughts on that?
You see, the governors, they say they are chief security officers for their state, but that's just in nominal terms. In reality, they can't secure anything. They don't have control the police, not to talk of the military. So in reality, there is no much they can do. I'm not talking about the attitude of some of these governors. What happened in my state in Eruku, in Ekiti local government, I'm sure by now, up to now, maybe this morning, the situation will have changed. The governor of Kwara State has not visited that community to even have an idea of what led to the situation and what needs to be done, and so that it can come to Abuja as they all have to do to beg for help. So and that's why we are saying that there's a fundamental issue here. You see, this is another point here. We say our political parties don't have any ideology. But if you can call anything, if there's anything that looks like a semblance of ideology in the APC political party, it's their promise of restructuring. In 2014-2015, it is in the manifesto of APC that they will restructure governance in Nigeria. restructuring governance. And I remember I was in APC at the time. I was a member of the panel headed by Malam Nasir El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna at the time, who went around this country and wrote a report on how to implement the restructuring promise of the APC. But what happened? Up to today, we don't know what happened to that report. We presented it to the president of Nigeria at the time, Muhammadu Buhari, and that was the end of it. So that brings us back to the question you asked, the issue you raised earlier about the president being one person. You see, don't let us make a mistake. The president of Nigeria is an extremely powerful man. He's an extremely more powerful than most presidents in the world in terms of what the law allows him to do. But the question is whether he's willing to do it. Don't forget, the legislative power is vested in the legislative institution, so you cannot really blame one person for that. The judicial authority is vested in the judicial institution, but the executive power is vested in the president of Nigeria. So any other person holding any other position everywhere that is an appointee of the president is only holding that power on behalf of the president. So you cannot apportion the buck stops at his table. He has to take the responsibility. If anybody that he has appointed is not doing his job, he has a duty to fire them. But he's not doing that. He's mostly coddling these people because he's invested in politics and is concerned about the role that they could play in helping him to win the next election. Why are you still keeping a politician as your defense minister when you have retired generals who have seen it, who have been on the field, who know where these problems are and who know what needs to be done? Why are you still keeping politicians as defense minister? So you see, don't let us shift the blame. It is the president of Nigeria. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself has said it repeatedly before he became president. He told President Jonathan, it is your job, and if you can't do it, resign. So we are saying the same thing to him, because this is too much. This is getting too much. It has to stop. Nigeria is becoming a country where anybody can kill anybody and get away with it. Is that the kind of country we want? We are talking about 2027 and politics. Are we going to preside over dead people? Is this a mortuary? Is Nigeria a mortuary now? You know, so this is not the issue of don't let us even play politics with it. This is a very serious matter, and if you watch my interviews, I hardly talk like this. But this is I'm worried like any other Nigerian. I'm worried. This is not about ADC or APC. I'm talking to you as a Nigerian. I'm privileged to have a voice to talk to you, and I'm using it now. The president needs to do something. They should stop playing politics. They should stop seeing any alternative view as a challenge to their wisdom. We are not blaming them for the security in the country, but they should have the humility to know that whatever they are doing is not working, and they need to ask for help, wherever that help will come from. But they are not doing that.
All right, Mr. Abdullahi, I think well expressed, well spoken. Your passion came through from your thought and your expression. And I'm happy that we stuck to the sentiment of Nigerians. It would have been a disservice to the people if we resorted to talking about politics, because right now, we need we need people to be alive to be able to politic in the first place. That I think we can all agree, and whatever has to be done urgently needs to be done. Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, the spokesperson of the ADC, thank you, sir. We really appreciate your coming on the program. All right, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be speaking to the president of the National Association of Resident Doctors. Their strike has entered day 20. Stay with us.